Well, good morning there, folks. Today is Wednesday, July 20th, and I have some espresso, so good way to start the morning off right. Sorry if you heard that really loudly in my new Lavalier mic. We're in the new studio today, so we have a nice backdrop, pretty lighting, or maybe the lighting's a little bit flat, but who cares? Because today we're going to be talking about real estate inventory. Look, the number one question that I get when I'm at an open house, when I'm just walking on the street, when I'm at a house party with friends is, when are real estate prices going to crash? Is this another 2008? Or when is the next 2008 going to occur? Look, I know that a lot of people are skeptical of the growth that we've been seeing in the real estate market. Of course, we are absolutely in the longest bull run for the stock market, for the economy as a whole, in all of history, 14 years. Now, there's some data that is still emerging, giving way to telling us if we are in a recession right now. So that leads many people to believe, oh, if we're in a recession, then obviously housing prices have to come down. And they have to come down drastically because housing prices are at an all-time high. So I want to be talking about this in today's video, talking about inventory, because what is the number one factor for housing prices? Inventory, right? It's that supply-demand curve. Is there enough supply houses to meet up with demand buyers? Now, second factor that goes into this, interest rates, okay? So we've seen interest rates drastically increase in the past few months. It's made a lot of people unable to afford the price points that they were looking at. Some people altogether out of the housing market just because they can't afford to have a 6% mortgage anymore. The only way they were able to afford a home is if the mortgage rate was going to be 3%, 4%, but now it's at 6%, so a lot of buyers are kicked out of the market. So there's less demand there. But today we're going to be uncovering inventory supply, namely new inventory, because, and let me switch to my fancy media right here, new inventory, okay? Inmin, markets and economy. Multifamily sector loan bright spot as permits, starts, completions fall. And we're going to be looking later at the history of new market inventory. So new residential construction dipped in June, while building permits, housing starts, and housing completions ticking down modestly, according to U.S. Census Bureau data released Tuesday. Just take a sip of the coffee, digest that information. I know it's a lot. Okay, new residential construction dipped in June, with new building permits, housing starts, and housing completions all ticking down modestly, according to U.S. Census Bureau data released Tuesday. Now, I don't just like reading articles, I like actually going to the study. So let's take a look at the U.S. Census Bureau monthly new residential construction, June 2022. And they release this every month. So first, let's look at building permits. Building permits were actually up 1.4% year over year. So modest increase. And what's going on with my pen here? It's trying to figure it out. Housing starts. Privately owned housing starts in June were at seasonally adjusted annual rate of 1,559,000. This is 6.3% below the 2021 rate of 1,664,000. Okay, so 6.3%, more of a stark difference. And then housing completions, 1,365,000, which is 4.6% above the June 2021 rate. So, looking at the headlines, you think, oh, it's very, very bad for inventory. But actually looking at the study, okay, housing starts are down, but housing completions and building permits are slightly up. I'm going to transition and go over to Seeking Alpha, which, over here, Seeking Alpha. I like what this guy says, okay? Here it is. Interest rates lead sales. Sales lead prices. Prices lead inventory. It's very simple as that. If you can get money cheap, then you'll buy more. And if more people are buying, there's going to be more inventory created because there is a more, there's a bigger, larger buyer pool out there. We're going to be looking at, from 2012, the housing shortage spreading to 2019. So it's scary. The more brown, the more orange, housing shortage. So we are having, in these key coastal areas, Seattle, Portland, a lot in LA. We've got some in DC, a lot of expansion there. So housing shortage is consolidated to a lot of those huge metropolitan areas. Now I want to transfer and go over to Redfin. I like to look at different data here. Okay, so let's look at inventory and let's take it back to just the present. Okay, from February to June. So we see here the cyclical nature. Obviously in the summer, we have more people listing their homes, right? So we're gonna have a little bit of a boom and then a bust. So when January came, inventory was sparse. I would look on the MLS and there were like 4 homes in the county came on the market last night. So it was really crazy, especially in King County, which is where I live in Washington, Seattle area. So we've seen a little bit of an increase of inventory, and this has more to do with just existing homes, not as much with new homes. But I want to take a look back because a lot of the key studies point to there being a shortage of inventory due to 2008. In 2008, there was a lot of home construction going on, but because the financial crisis was so great, a lot of those companies shut down. A lot of the smaller companies, of course, went out of business, so there was less home constructing going on. So let's take it back here to January 2012, and we are going to see that you see the cyclical nature, but every cycle, every year, it goes down a little bit more. So that's the key point here. Do I think another 2008 is going to happen? And a lot of this data was jumbled together, but I'm trying to present that I don't believe that 2008 is going to happen again, just because we don't have the inventory, we don't have the supply to meet the demand. So one more slide here. Let me take you back to mortgage rates. What are mortgage rates at today? 5.72%. So over 1 year, we started 1 year ago at 2.87, which is very scary. Let's take it back to 5 year now. And we'll see that, okay, they dipped really low in the pandemic, of course. We're gonna go to max, which I always like to see. It keeps me in perspective. I mean, interest rates were at this level in 2008 when all the housing stuff was going on. And before then, and those were the cheapest rates basically in history. So interest rates have always been a little higher than actually where we are today. I think it was abnormal the past few years that interest rates were just so low. Okay, so enough with the mumbo jumbo. Let's get to the thesis here. I believe that the low interest rates of the past few years created excess liquidity in the buyer market, meaning many more people had the ability to buy real estate. So there are many, many more buyers. Of course, as a real estate agent, I want everyone to be able to buy real estate because real estate is awesome, okay? But when you have really cheap money, meaning you can get a mortgage at a 2.8, a 3.1, a 3.5% interest rate, that mortgage payment is a lot cheaper. So you can buy a lot more real estate with the same monthly payment, right? So when interest rates go up, that excess liquidity gets cut off and we hit the equilibrium. So my thesis is that real estate prices are leveling off right now. So people say, let me get some espresso. People say, is 2008 going to happen? No, because the conditions were very unsettling there. They were very unstable. They didn't have a good foundation. Lending was cracked, right? Lending was cracked. But now we have a different issue because there was a lot of price increase from the excess liquidity in the markets. And now that that excess liquidity is cut off essentially because of the higher interest rates, we're having a leveling off of prices. But I think that we're still going to see the same prices persist just because we have such an inventory shortage nationwide. Okay, everyone, thank you. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed my new setup. I've got my computer here set up and we've got the media and the fading in between. And I've got the lavalier mic, the backdrop, all of that fun stuff. So hope you have a good Wednesday. And yeah, thank you. Have a good one.